What is employer's liability insurance on a workers' comp policy? Good question. Hi, my name is Ryan Hanley. I'm the founder and president of Rogue Risk, where we do insurance differently, specifically by giving you knowledge and information to make the right insurance decision. If you find this content valuable, I'd love you to smash that like button. That way other individuals like yourself can find this video. Okay, so employer's liability insurance is actually part 2 of a workers' comp policy in most states. And most people completely disregard this coverage. They just say, hey, I have employees, workers' comp is a statutory coverage in my state, so I need to purchase workers' comp. And maybe they look at the workers' comp limits, maybe they don't, but ultimately those limits are the employer's liability portion of the policy, not the workers' comp coverage. So the workers' comp coverage is statutory, again, in the vast majority of states in the United States. This isn't the case in every state. But employer's liability is the actual limits that you see. And you may see like 100 per occurrence, 500 aggregate, or a 500, or a million, whatever. Those limits are the employer's liability, or part 2. So part 2, this employer's liability portion, covers any claims made against your organization that aren't covered under the statutory limits. And there are actually 4 common cases that happen where an employee gets injured and then a claim is made and your workers' comp benefits don't cover you. So this would be very bad if you didn't have this coverage, because a lot of these can be very high limit claims, which is why we advocate for increased limits on your employer's liability, because oftentimes the price difference is negligible, like dollars, not even like hundreds of dollars, it's like dollars. And you can make sure that if in the outside chance that there is a claim against your business that isn't covered by workers' comp when it involves an employee injury, that your business still isn't impacted by that, or at least less than it would be financially. Okay, I took some notes just because these claims do tend to be, I don't want to say rare because that makes it seem like you shouldn't have the coverage, but they don't happen as often as, say, things that are on a general liability policy. So, okay, the first is third-party action. This would be employee gets injured and they sue a third party, and that third party comes back and says, well, the reason we're being sued is because something you did, your business. So even though it was your employee that got injured on the job, they couldn't sue you. They sued a third party, and then that third party was able to countersue against you. So that would be third party coverage. That's employer's liability insurance on a workers' comp policy. The second is loss of consortium, which is basically when something that happens to your employee impacts the spouse. And the spouse is able to file suit against your business saying that even though I wasn't directly impacted, I have this loss due to my spouse being injured at your work. Okay. The next is dual capacity. A dual capacity lawsuit, which would basically be an instance where the employer and the employee have multiple relationships. So that would be maybe they are both an employee and act as a consultant, or this one is fairly rare, but if there are multiple capacities in which an employee is working for you and is injured, there is workarounds and loopholes where you can they can file suit for one of those other capacities, not the capacity in which they were actually injured, if that makes sense. Last but not least, consequential bodily injury. So this would be where a spouse actually has a physical issue based on the injury, and the example that we most commonly give is like elevated blood pressure. I don't mean to laugh. Just elevated blood pressure, like you're having stress or anxiety or something like that based on an injury to an injured employee, and that spouse sues and says, I'm having this physical injury because my spouse got hurt at your work. So again, are these kind of outside scenarios? Yes. But if one of these things happen and you're not covered, or you don't have enough coverage, you are going to be put into a bad place. So I highly recommend that you make sure your workers' comp policy has employer's liability, which it most likely does. But I would recommend that you push your limits up at least to the $500,000 per occurrence level, if not the $1 million per occurrence level, because again, we're talking about very insignificant increases in cost to make sure that if one of these things does happen, you have the proper protection. All right, so this is the level of detail that we comb through policies in, and if this is the kind of relationship that you'd like to have with your insurance professional, we'd love to work with you. Best ways to reach out, you can give us a call, 518-960-6600. You can email us at gorogue@roguerisk.com. You can visit our website, roguerisk.com, or I'm sure there's a button or a link somewhere around this video that will let you contact us. Whichever way you choose, we look forward to working with you.